That's Ralph, and I'm David, back for another video. In this video, this is going to be kind of a combination of a whole bunch of things. Ralph is newly adopted. He is what I refer to as a corona dog. He was adopted during the coronavirus. A lot of people, that's why shelters are empty. It's amazing because people have a lot of time and they're going out and welcoming new dogs in their homes. It's awesome. I love it. But he's a rescue dog. Including fosters, this is his 5th home. And he has shown, I don't want to say aggression, but he is a little bit reactive in certain situations. So the person who's filming is one of his new guardians, and the female, and he actually nipped at her a couple times when he was caught off guard. And now she, like the other guardian, gets up early and goes off and does some works out in the morning, and she doesn't want to leave the room because of the bad incident that she had, because the morning is kind of a sketchy time for her. So I'm going to go over some tips that you can use. That's a nice little bubble you got there, buddy. Let's show everybody at home you got a nice bubble over there. Look at that bubble. That's a great one. Okay, so I'm going to go through dog warning signs first. So most of the time, we don't know what to look for when it comes to warning signs for dogs. Dogs usually are very good at avoiding conflict. They don't want conflict. They want to give you warning. A lot of times, we don't actually interpret it until they get to the point where they're growling. And we're like, oh, mean, aggressive dog. A growl is not aggression. A growl is actually the antithesis of aggression. A growl is a warning. It's like, I don't want to go past this, but you're not listening to me, so I have to. But if you get to the growl, you're probably too late. So the first sign I found is usually the stare. So I'm the dog, kind of hanging out. That's the first warning sign. They usually stop, stare, they lower their head a little bit, and they get still. Going in like, so moving normally and then going to slow motion, big warning. Usually it starts off with a stare, then usually the lower head, sometimes those are combined. The ears will either come forward or go back. The tail sometimes will go straight up. His breed probably not going to go straight up. Hackles, which you won't be able to, I'm sorry, buddy. Reaching over dogs can be intimidating. That's one of the things he did. So you saw, what did he do? He cowered, I backed away. So I listened to what he said. Most people will just continue petting. Well, if I'm asking a girl or do something with a girl and she acts like she doesn't like it, and I continue to do it because I like it, well, I'm not showing her a lot of respect. And listening to what she wants. Same sort of thing for dogs. We just think, but I'm petting you, it's a good thing. I don't want you standing over me and petting me. And it's entirely appropriate for him to do that. If you want him to learn how to do that, we could do that. We could simply go like this. While he's getting a treat, I'm not touching him, I'm just getting him used to the hand motion coming towards him. And after enough, this hand motion, then eventually I would do it like this. I would go, hand motion, treat. Hand motion, treat. Hand motion, treat. So now the hand motion becomes an indicator I'm about to get a treat. And it could, before it might have been, I was about to be struck. Yes, we'll shake. I don't normally do that. All right, so getting back to the warning signs. So usually it's a stare, lowering the head, ears coming forward, hackles, which is where his harness is right there, and where the D-ring is. Right, you see that hair stand up. That's kind of like getting goose pimples, or your nipples get hard if you're in a cold room. It's an involuntary reflex. Doesn't mean he's aggressive. It means he's moving in that direction. Not necessarily that direction, but it's just he's being more aroused is the better word to use. Holding their breath or breathing really heavy. The mouth. If I'm like, so the mouth all of a sudden closes and the ears come forward and the dog gets still, that's a big warning. That's like 3 warnings together. Let me see. Some dogs will practice avoidance and not look at something that they don't like. Some dogs will stare directly at it. Confident, aggressive, dominant dogs will bark and charge. Insecure dogs will bark and back away. Yes, the treats are right here. They're not getting any treats. They're just barking. It's okay. You can hang out here. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to identify your dog's warning signs. And in order to do that, what I find the best way to do it is to find, first of all, what are the dog's positive body signs or the neutral body mechanics. So what I would do is when, like right now there's a dog barking, so this isn't the best situation because you see he's turning looking at it. Well, you know he's nice and relaxed and there's no dogs, there's no people, there's nothing around. Look at his ears. Are his ears forward? Are they in the middle? Are they back? Are they going to the side? Are they in? What is his tail doing? What is his, how is he carrying his head? How high is his head? What is his overall, also stiff body is a big warning as well. Eventually you want to be able to identify your dog's neutral body mechanics, then it's happy body mechanics. And once you get familiar with both of those, if you're out with someone and you see all of a sudden a deviation from that, ooh, he got stiff, his head lowered, he started staring. Yeah, we're not actually, he's in training, he can't be petted right now. telling people the dog is in training is one of the best ways to get away from having a pet. A lot of people, we think everybody's got to pet my dog. I don't want everybody touching me. There's a pretty girl, I don't mind her touching me. Another guy, I might not want to touch me. That's entirely appropriate for me to decide who I want to touch me or not. Same thing for dogs, but when they're dogs, we just look at them as a lower life form. I can just pet you anyways, even though you're saying I don't like that. Well, the more that we, as his handlers, can put him in a situation where we can say, and I'm going to talk about how to greet him here in a second. Oh, you know what? He's not in a good mood today, or whatever the case may be. You know he's stressed out. Don't even start the process. All right, so what I'd like the guardian to do, if I go to him, if I go ask a girl out, she's in the driver's seat. She has what I want, her presence to go out on a date, so she's calling the shots. If a girl ever comes out and asks me out, I'll be like, sweet, it finally happened. No, but if a girl comes and asks me out, I'm in the driver's seat. So if we go to the dog, then that kind of puts the dog in the more of, I would say, the power position. So what I'd like you to do is have some of these great crack treats. And when you are gone and you wake up in the morning and he's out and he's kind of hanging out in the living room and you want to get out, call him to you. You're in bed, he can't get up to the bed, and before you call him, you grab a couple of these. He comes to you. Fred, I'm just going to call you Fred. Ralph, come. Come. Ralph, down. Down. Ralph, up. Up. And then I swing my feet outside the bed. And then I stand up. Now, when I first do these things, this is a little bit of counter conditioning. Now, well, I'm combining a couple things. What I want you to do is when you want to come out, you call him to come to you. So now he's coming to you, you're in the more of the power position. When he comes to you, you ask him to give you some demonstrations of obedience. Listen to me. And not only listen to me, but get rewarded for listening to me. So I would do that and have him do a sit and give him a treat. Give him when he first comes to you, if his body language feels comfortable, and we have instincts for a reason. If your instincts tell you that he's not comfortable, listen to your instincts, and just stay in bed. But if he seems nice and relaxed, ask for a sit, give him a treat, and say sit. Ask him then to lay down, give him a treat for lay down. Now, if him moving would be a trigger, the counter conditioning I was starting to say, what I would do, I do counter conditioning a little bit differently. So let's say that I'm in bed and I swing my legs into this position. I'm laying in bed, I want to swing them like this. So, and I know that swinging them that way is going to cause him to freak out. So what I would do first is I would give him, when my legs are up here, I would give him a treat, and then I would swing my legs. And then put him back when he gets done chewing, and repeat that about 2 or 3 times. This is the part of the video where everybody emails me or writes, he's doing it wrong. I do it this way intentionally. I don't want him reacting, so I want to create a positive association. However, it's very important that we switch it pretty quickly. So after you do that about 3 or 4 times, he's like, so I get a treat and you move your legs over? I get a treat and you move your legs over? Okay, I'm cool with this situation. Now, we just did a warm-up. Now he's comfortable. Then what I would do, come over here, Fred. See, that was a joke. So then what I would do is after I do about 5 times in a row, then I would swing my legs over, and then I would give him the treat after. And I would say position or gymnastics or whatever. Come up with a command word for that. So now the action of you moving your legs, the thing that he disagreed with before, we've counter-conditioned that means an indication I'm about to get a treat, which I like. So he's like, can you put your legs back and then get out of bed again? Let's do that 5 or 6 different times. Then you practice a little bit more. So now the dog is developing a positive association with the action where before it was a negative and he was biting or growling or nipping or growling to disagree. I don't ever want to punish a dog for growling. What I want to do is usually increase the distance between the dog and whatever it's reacting to. Then I want to analyze the situation. Oh, he didn't like me moving my legs out of the bed? Well, let's fix that. Instead of punishing him or correcting him when he growls, because any attention is validating to a dog. And so it's getting confusing. Now, something that a lot of people don't know, and I was talking about this in our culture, women get touched by people a lot. And so women have to kind of, over here, buddy, they kind of position themselves. They know their boss is going to come and give them a shoulder rub. When they go in the office and they don't like that boss doing that, they kind of stand against the wall. Well, the boss can't get by. Can you move forward so I can rub it? No, they just do it, So women have to calculate this. Dogs kind of do the same sort of thing. So when that sounds weird, but I promise it'll make sense. So when I go to pet a dog, I go like this. See how he leaned forward? Now I have treats, which we'll talk about how you can use those as well. But if I go like this, and if a dog leans back, lowers its head, or turns its head to the side, that's called a cutoff signal. That's the dog's way of saying, I don't want you to touch me. But we think, but what I'm doing is a good positive thing anyway, so it's okay for me to do it. No, it's not. Just like it's not touching another human is not okay when you're unless they are okay with it as well. So when people want to pet him, first of all, I'm going to observe his overall body mechanics, as I talked about earlier. Does he seem like he's calm and relaxed? Is he showing any of those indicators of being unbalanced, or is it his ears in a good neutral or happy body position? If that's the case, and there's also nothing stressful going on, if somebody's got the weed eater over there and it stresses out the dog, that's not a good time for somebody to meet him in the first place. We're setting him up to fail. So then what I do is I have the person says, "Can I pet your? Oh, I love bulldogs. Can I pet him? Yes, but we have a deal with Ralph. Anybody that pets him, we want to make sure that he sits and earns that person's treat first, and then we hold our hand out here. And if he leans forward, then you can reach down to pet him. If he turns his head to the side or backs up, that's his way of saying no, and we're going to respect it. Now, it's a long thing to say to somebody, so you might want to arrange to have some friends or people with you so you can explain it. But after a while, you'll get a concise way of saying that. Now, if these are like $100 bills to dogs. So I was asked, well, if somebody wants to come into the place of business that he goes to and they want to pet him, can I let him do that? Well, if his body mechanics tell me he's okay and there's nothing stressful going on, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to give the person a treat or two before they start petting him and ask Ralph to demonstrate some sort of obedience. Another squirrel. And so I ask him to sit. When he sits, they give him a treat and say the word sit. Then they give him another treat. That was down. And let's say he laid down and we give him a treat for them. Then I maybe ask for an up. Ralph, I know it's burning calories and you're a big guy, but oh, you stinker, you got one. Sit. Sit. Remember to say the command word once to tell him what to do. When he does it, after the treat goes in the mouth, they give him the treat and say the command word again. Down. Down. Remember, don't say it multiple times. I waited, I kind of manipulated, but I didn't say it multiple times. And then I can maybe do another up, up, and then I go like this. Now try not to do that when he's still chewing. So give him the treat, let him get done chewing, then hold your hand forward. He's probably going to come forward. He probably thinks there's another treat in your hand. Then you can kind of go like this and go ahead and pet him on his side or his jowls or wherever it is. And again, give your person a towel to wipe them off. Bulldogs. But anybody who loves a bulldog knows that they're going to know that they're going to get that. And the great thing about dogs, they have built-in towels, so you can wipe it right off. So now when he meets somebody, first of all, we made sure the dog feels good and it's not a stressful environment. We read the dog's body language. The person queried the dog. Now, if a dog does not sit or doesn't want to look at the person, that's a big warning. So don't push his butt down. And don't try to ask him to sit over and over again. The reason we ask for the sit is to see is he in an amicable mood. And if he doesn't sit or doesn't want to take the treat, that is an indicator that person should not be petting him. Also, leaning over a dog is very dominating. We're all about 12 feet tall to dog. If a 12-foot tall person came and stand over me, even though I'm 6'2", I would kind of like duck down a little bit. I just give myself an extra inch. So same sort of thing for dogs. Front facing is also confrontational. So if you would like to have somebody meet him, I get him out of the shot first. So if I meet him like this, I'm already towering over him and I'm front facing, which is confrontational. Dogs usually take a sideways approach. You can turn the camera if you need to. So what I would do instead is have the person like this, sit. This is approachable, this is confrontational. Sit. Down. And again, have them wait until he gets done chewing it. But down, if you're about to get mugged, you don't sit down. If you're about to get carjacked, you don't check your hair. You don't scratch your shoulder. All that stuff goes out the window. If his cortisol levels are too high, he won't have any appetite. He won't show interest in treats. So that's why we want to use treats that we know he likes. And if he doesn't take it, he's telling us, I don't want to meet that person. I don't feel comfortable. Not necessarily, I don't want to meet that person. I just don't feel comfortable. We only want him to meet people if he's comfortable. We set him up for success. Now we can do a couple things. We can exercise him first, give him 10 minutes to recover. And then we can make sure that we have these really high value treats. The person is positioning themselves sideways. It's not confrontational. And they're making the dog do a couple things first. And now the dog's like, yeah, when I listen to you, good things happen. Ralph. Now I use my hand, open hand, empty hand to get a dog to sit. Sit. So you want to curl your fingers up so he can't see it, and then you go and arc over his head. To get more height, his butt will go down. I also make a kissing sound. as my affirmation or to get the dog's attention. Also, the higher or lower your hand is matters. Watch this. I'll get him to come to me without saying anything. The lower you go, the more it's for the dog. Come. Okay, the last little thing. The handler who is watching this, who's filming this video right now, is still not 100%. They've gotten a much better relationship, but she's still trepidatious at times. There's an expression, don't bite the hand that feeds. You're gonna really love this part, by the way. So dogs, it comes from dogs won't bite who's feeding them. So what I would like you to do is I would like to have you start hand feeding them for about a week or two. So now you're the provider of the food, but before he does that, he has to sit, and then you let him have some. Then you grab a next scoop, down, and he's got to grab next scoop, up. So he's got to do a little something before he gets every little piece of kernel. Now you're the one in charge of feeding me. You're the distributor of food, which is eating. Dogs spend 90% of the time in the wild looking for food. It is the most important activity for them. So if now you're the purveyor of that, and we combine it with all the stuff we went over off camera, petting with a purpose, passive training, enforcing rules. Now he sees you acting like a leader, and from a dog's perspective, and you're validating that listening to you is a good thing because it gets him a reward. Ralph. Now I'm doing something bad that I shouldn't be doing. I keep on saying his name Ralph as a come command. Remember to say just the command. Come or here, whatever you want. I prefer not to use the dog's name because what if he's on the other side of a busy freeway and I get his attention to tell him to stay so I can come over to collect him. If I say Ralph, he runs to me every time. That can backfire. If he's at the gym and he's all of a sudden getting stiff and you see him stiff from across, you say stay, or Ralph, stay. Oh, it can help you out. Crash. We talked about that off camera as well. All right, well, this is my buddy Ralph, and these are some tips and tricks you can use if you have a dog that's a little bit squirrely and not super comfortable about people approaching or touching him, so you know how to set him up for success.